That evening, in the courtyard of a mountain temple, a young monk sat beside a stone lantern, his brows furrowed. The wind passed through, yet he didn't lift his head, his mind tangled in a flood of thoughts crashing like waves. The master approached, stopping quietly behind him, and asked softly, "What are you waiting for?" The monk replied in a low voice, "I'm waiting for these thoughts to stop, waiting for my mind to become still." The master smiled and pointed toward the sky. "Have you ever seen clouds stop moving? Have you ever had this experience? Waking in the middle of the night, your mind like a runaway train, dragging you into a nowhere-bound distance. Or before an important event, you know you shouldn't be nervous, yet anxiety still pulls you into its depths. Or on an ordinary day, you just want to quietly enjoy a cup of coffee, but your own mind keeps dragging you into an endless trial. About the past, the future, and whether you are enough. Why is it that the more we crave for our minds to be still, the more unruly they become? Have you noticed? The harder you try to stop thinking, the more your thoughts scatter like startled birds, flapping and colliding. If your mind were the sky, thoughts would be the clouds drifting across it, yet we stubbornly try to grab them, push them away, or make them vanish entirely. But the sky has depth because clouds exist. Clouds remain pure because they move. So the real question is, are we truly meant to fight them? Perhaps you've already sensed a paradox. We spend most of our lives wrestling with our own thoughts, yet rarely question, what is the relationship between me and my thoughts? If you are not your thoughts, then who are you? But if you are your thoughts, then when they change without warning, how can you be sure who you are? Zen says, when a thought arises, be aware of it. Awareness means not following it. Simple words, like a key that could open the door to inner freedom. Yet most people, even after hearing them, still get pulled along by their minds. Why? Is it because we don't understand? Or because we are afraid of the emptiness that might remain? You might believe that controlling your thoughts means steering your life. But does control truly bring freedom? Or is it just another cage keeping you trapped in the endless chase for a perfect state of mind, spending a lifetime in pursuit of something that cannot be held? This is not an easy question to answer, but if you are willing, we can step together into the vast, uncharted sea of the mind to see the true face of those clouds, and perhaps discover that freedom doesn't lie in making them disappear, but in letting them drift away. You may think that what traps you are those uninvited thoughts, but the truth is, what traps you is your relationship with them. Freud once said that the mind is like an iceberg. The small part above the surface is consciousness, while beneath the waterline lies a vast mass of unconscious impulses, memories, and fears, quietly steering your ship. You think you're holding the wheel, but in reality, the undercurrents are carrying you. Jung went further, suggesting that the ceaseless churn of thoughts is not only the product of personal experience, but is deeply shaped by the collective unconscious. Archetypes and patterns inherited from ancestors, culture, and history, flowing through you like ancient rivers. When you fear failure or obsess over someone's judgment, it may not be because of the situation itself, but because some centuries-old fear is echoing within you. The sixth patriarch of Zen, Huineng, said, "From the very beginning, nothing exists. Where can dust alight?" Yet we treat thoughts as solid, and the stories they weave as destiny. You believe you are thinking, but in truth you are being carried by the habit of thought. And how stubborn is this habit? Think of Kafka's worlds, where characters struggle not against visible chains, but against an invisible order, an absurd law. That invisible prison is the mind itself. More precisely, the belief that thoughts must be controlled. Nietzsche once wrote that the greatest human misfortune lies not in suffering itself, but in our obsession with looking back at it, chewing on it, using it as proof that we exist. We are even afraid of having no suffering, for that would leave us with nothing to hold on to. This is exactly our relationship with thoughts. We complain about their noise, yet when they vanish, we feel uneasy, because emptiness forces us to face the void within. You think you are seeking stillness, but in reality, you are running from the void. You think you are controlling your thoughts, but in truth, you are strengthening their roots. When these hidden psychological and cultural structures rise into view, you begin to see this is not just a pursuit of mental calm. It is a centuries-old tug-of-war, woven from inherited illusions, the vortex of the unconscious, and a relentless attachment to the idea of self. You may never have noticed how this tug-of-war with your thoughts is silently rewriting your destiny. Those seemingly harmless thoughts, like dust particles floating in the air, quietly alter your perception of yourself and the world, shaping your choices and actions, ultimately deciding your future. The neural circuits in your brain resemble a complex map, and as you repeatedly dwell on certain thoughts, some pathways deepen, becoming harder to change. This is called neuroplasticity, but its darker side is, the more you indulge negative, anxious, or critical thoughts, the more you solidify this shortcut toward suffering. You think you're just trying to grasp a single thought, but instead, you get trapped by it again and again, like caught in an invisible snare. The power of this trap lies not in the thought itself, but in the meaning and attention you give it. Culture and society also plant seeds within your mind. Standards of success, happiness, and perfection carve your anxieties and insecurities like invisible sculptors. Media, education, family, even the words of friends silently deepen these engravings. Cognitive biases distort your view of the world. You notice failure but ignore success. You magnify flaws and hide strengths. You begin to question yourself. Why am I never enough? Why does happiness always seem just out of reach? If you don't awaken, these unseen forces will deepen and accumulate, forming an invisible cage that traps you more tightly. You will lose yourself in a labyrinth of countless thoughts, even losing control over your own life. This is not just an individual dilemma but a collective fate. When every individual in society is trapped by their own thoughts, anxiety and fear become the background music of the age. Countless souls struggle inside this invisible prison, yet grow accustomed to it, as if they cannot see the way out. This is both a crisis and an opportunity. Are you willing to face this problem? Or will you choose to remain a ghost, led by your thoughts? Some cages are not forged from steel but woven from your own thoughts. You cannot see them, yet they bind you day and night, and for that very reason, they are harder to escape than any physical prison. However, Zen never teaches you to smash them with force. Instead, it tells you, the cage does not exist. It is merely a thought. The sixth patriarch Huineng said in the Platform Sutra, "Originally, there is not a single thing. Where can dust alight?" This is not poetic comfort, but a radical declaration. If you stop identifying with the thoughts that arise, they will, like clouds, vanish on their own. The real way out is not to fight thoughts, but to let them dissolve naturally. Think about it. No matter how high the waves rise on the sea, the deep waters remain still. Zen practice is learning to retreat from the waves back to the ocean, not suppressing thoughts, but returning to the vast, boundless awareness itself. When you can do this, the cage collapses on its own. Nietzsche once said, "The heaviest chains are the misunderstandings we have about ourselves." The Buddha revealed something even more profound. The very sense of self is an illusion. When you dare to question the way I exists, countless attachments and fears lose their foundation instantly, like a river losing its banks, allowing the current to flow freely. So how do you begin? Here are 5 practical ways out. 1. Observe without judgment. Set aside a few minutes each day to simply watch your thoughts arise and fade. No judgment, no rush to analyze. You will be surprised to find that thoughts have no power on their own. Their power comes from your reaction to them. 2. Breath return method. When emotions or thoughts grow overwhelming, immediately bring your attention back to your breath. Feel the rhythm of inhaling and exhaling, as if anchoring yourself to the present moment. This is not avoidance. It is reclaiming mastery over your mind. 3. Ask yourself, 3. Is it really? Questions. When a thought or fear arises, ask, is this really a fact? Am I 100% certain it's true? If I didn't believe this thought, would I be freer? By the third question, many thoughts begin to loosen their grip. 4. Break the illusion with action. Do not wait for your mind to be clear before acting. Instead, act first and let the reality of experience shatter the illusions of the mind. Just as a monk once feared failure, but his master told him to sweep the leaves, because in action, thoughts lose their focus. 5. Learn to let yourself go. Accept that you can never fully control your thoughts and emotions, but you can choose not to tangle with them. This self-forgiveness is the starting point for inner release. Many throughout history have walked this path. Wang Yangming, upon his enlightenment in Longcheng, realized the mind is principle and freed himself from dependence on external conditions. Zen master Zhaozhou Kongshen lived a life of simplicity, dissolving disciples' doubts with the simple phrase, "Go have tea." For true wisdom lies not in concepts, but in the clarity of the present. When you truly understand that thoughts are nothing more than passing clouds, you will see that you have always been the unmoving sky. At that moment, the cage no longer needs to be broken because it never existed. You are no longer the prisoner. You are the one who has always been free. Have you ever wondered that when thoughts pass like clouds, what remains in the empty space is your true self? In that invisible emptiness, there is no name, no judgment, no past or future, only the pure presence of the now. This is not nihilism, but the deepest essence of life, your soul's boundless realm. The Buddha's awakening under the Bodhi tree was not because he banished all thoughts, but because he saw the emptiness within thoughts, the reality of non-arising and non-ceasing. Emptiness is not a hollow absence, it is an infinite field full of possibilities. When you finally realize that thoughts are merely scenery, mere passing guests, you are no longer controlled by them. You begin to spread your wings in the sky of your mind. This freedom surpasses anything you once imagined as peace or control. It is a profound inner steadiness, a strength that remains calm amid storms. You no longer resist change because you know everything flows naturally and nothing ever truly stays. This is the ultimate wisdom of Zen, resonating through all great philosophies. Nietzsche said, "That which does not kill me makes me stronger." And what you are experiencing now is the transformative pain of transcending the self's chains, the fire of metamorphosis. Letting thoughts pass like clouds is not avoidance, but the deepest form of facing reality. You no longer confront chaotic mental noise, but the pure awareness that pierces all illusions. As you gaze into this awareness, you will be astonished to discover that this I has never truly existed. It is merely the phantom of countless fleeting thoughts, like clouds gathering and dispersing, never resting. And the real you is that unchanging sky, forever free, forever vast. Now let us pause together, breathe quietly, and feel this ethereal power. Let your mind drift with the clouds, allowing thoughts to come and go, and you will know, the clear sky of your soul has never left you. This is not just the finale of philosophy, but the true beginning of your life.